Okay, hello. Nice to see you all.
Hello.
Hi, great to see you.
Nice to see you.
Let's see, we've got, you're totally the opposite of my list. I had JJ first, but okay, JJ, you're in the middle.
That's
and
me.
Sonora, you're on the right. And Abdi, you're on the left, on my left.
Hi there.
Okay. Like I said before we got on, this is my first three-way interview, so I was a little bit puzzled or perplexed on how I was going to do it because obviously we can't have everyone talking all at the same time. So I thought since we only have 15 minutes, what I would do is just if each of you could just introduce yourself, tell us a little about yourself. Don't mention the book yet, then we'll circle back and then we'll hit the book for each one that you're promoting, okay?
Great.
Okay, so Abdi, let's start with you.
Sure. My name is Abdi Nazemian. I'm an author. I'm also a screenwriter and film producer in film and TV, so currently on strike. I was born in Tehran and left when I was 2, lived in Branson, Canada, and when I was 10, moved to the US. And I'm a proud queer storyteller and also a gay dad with a husband and 2 kids. So the issues facing young people are very personal to me.
I saw one of the movies, Call Me By Your Name. You were the...
Yeah.
What did you do?
I was an associate producer.
Associate
producer on that film, yeah.
Good film. Really good film.
Thank you. Thank you.
What's the difference between an associate producer and an executive producer?
Oh, goodness. I don't think 15 minutes is going to get us there. There are different levels of credits that mean different things depending on how you're involved. And they are very different in film than they are in television. So we can have a separate interview about that.
Okay, well, maybe we'll have you back for that one.
We'll
talk about that one. Okay, JJ?
I'm Jason June. It's a 2-name first name like Mary Kate without the hyphen or the Olsen twin. And I am from Austin, Texas. I am married. I have a dog, a Pomeranian, so I'm super gay. I don't have anything else exciting to say. That's all I do is sit at a keyboard all day and write.
Well, I did see that your Pomeranian is named Pom Brokaw. That's very cute.
Exactly. Yes. Yep. His friends call him Brody, but his full name is Pom Brokaw.
So what about Pom Cruise?
Pom Cruise would be great. Pom Selleck. I want to get him a sister named Sarah Jessica Barker.
There you go.
And
Oh my God.
I'm punny, I guess, is one thing we could add to my bio.
Do you just have the one dog?
Well,
Just the one. Yeah.
I was going to ask if Pom Cruise was going to star in the Mission Impossible series of films.
Well, yeah.
Sonora, save us.
Oh, we're going right down the hole on this one, yeah.
Yeah, I'm Sonora Reyes. I don't know why I paused before my last name, like I don't know it. I'm Sonora Reyes. I am an author and a dog parent also. I have a pit bull named Thor. Because he's blonde and buff, and that was the name. I also don't have very many exciting things to say, so I talked about my dog. Yeah.
Well, I do that. I've got 2 dogs as well, and they're right out in the hall. I bring them to the studio. And anytime people ask me about me, I switch right to the dogs. They're much more
it's just
interesting.
an instinct.
Yeah.
I have a dog too. His name's Disco.
Aww.
Yeah, I know. We could just talk about dogs for 15 minutes.
Yeah.
Well, it would be nice because I could talk about dogs all day, but I think we're here to talk about your books. So let's go back to Abdi and tell us about your book.
So my latest book is called Only This Beautiful Moment. It's an intergenerational story about 3 generations of Iranian men in the same family. So it takes place in the 1930s, the 70s, and present day in both Los Angeles and Tehran. And it's about how these 3 men, grandfather, father, grandson, have been robbed of the intimacy they should have had with each other because of family secrets, personal secrets related to queer life, and also how their personal lives were shaped by the politics of American intervention in the Middle East and anti-queer legislation. So it's a very personal story for me, and ultimately one about the power of love to triumph over time.
Okay, is there an LGBTQ scene in Iran? I mean, we hear stories that the Middle
Well,
East is
yes.
pretty conservative.
You should read the book. Yeah, people
Yeah.
should read the book if they're curious. The section that takes place in the present day does shine a light on queer life in Iran. It does exist. Unfortunately, it can't really be public the way that we are here as a queer community. And so I felt that I had a responsibility to represent it correctly. I spoke to many people. I still have many family members and friends who live there. And I feel really honored to be able to tell a story that people within Iran don't feel safe enough to tell themselves.
Is it still illegal to be gay there?
It is, yes.
Yeah, well, that's too bad. All right. JJ, you're up.
Yeah, my latest book is called Riley Weaver Needs a Date to the Gaybutante Ball, and I'm obsessed with that long and campy title. And it follows the titular character Riley Weaver, who's trying to get into the Gaybutante Society, which is inspired by the debutante societies that we're all familiar with. And the whole Gaybutante season culminates in the Gaybutante Ball, where you must have an escort introduce you to society as a person that's ready to make their mark as an out queer person. And typically, the person's escort is romantic, because teens lead into romance and hormones and all that. But Riley is told by a gay masculine classmate that he will not be able to find a date for the ball because he's too femme. And Riley is not all about that. Riley is a femme gay person like myself and creates a podcast called Riley Weaver Needs a Date to the Gaybutante Ball, detailing all the ups and downs of dating while gay and femme.
Okay. Is any of this true to life for you?
Just the fact that you do hear a common trope of, from a certain subsect of gay men, that femme gays are kind of bringing down the whole community. But unfortunately, the Gaybutante Society is fictional, although it's very fabulous. And I'm not a podcaster.
All right, Sonora?
So the Luis Ortega Survival Club is basically John Tucker Must Die meets Promising Young Woman, except without the murder, and it's YA, so young adult. So basically Ari, the main character, the book starts after she is assaulted at a party. So it starts after this event, so it's not on page. She teams up with an anonymous pen pal to get revenge on the guy, and she may or may not fall in love with the person who's helping her take him down.
May or may not, so we have to read the book to find out.
So you gotta read the book.
Okay. All right. I want to ask this question to all of you, and feel free to just spout out an answer. What do you say to the people who are protesting having a lot of LGBTQ books in elementary schools and high schools, that they think it's inappropriate, that it's sexualizing their children, grooming, all of these different words that I hear? What is your answer to that?
Okay, so God, I only have 15 minutes, but so I do have a lot to say, but I'll keep it short. I think my main point is usually that parents are trying to enforce their rights over their own kids. But they're really enforcing their rights over other people's kids by banning books and taking books away from other people's kids that they can no longer access. So it's one thing to limit what your own child is able to access, which we can talk about that as well, but it's a completely different thing to totally go and control what other people are allowing their own kids to read. And I don't think that's right.
Well, also, I would just say, the vast majority of queer people knew they were queer at a young age. I mean, I knew when I was 11, and I felt deeply ashamed and stigmatized, and I've lost way too many of my own friends from my generation to suicide and overdose. And there's a great epidemic of shame still happening in our community because of people dealing with the wounds of not being accepted. So we're trying to make a better world for young kids who are looking for acceptance. And like I said, I'm a parent. I get it. I have 2 11-year-olds. I'm with them and their friends all the time. I'm involved in their school. I get how scary it can be to be a parent and how much there is to be anxious about. But this is really about unity. It's really about creating a better world for all children, creating empathy for all children. And I personally welcome dialogue. I mean, it's hard. I've been called groomer. I've been called all the things. I've been banned. but I'm not going to let it rob me of my values, which are of oneness and unity. And I'm here to create openness and dialogue. And if anyone wants to talk to me, they should reach out.
Just from experience, when you don't allow queer teens to have safe spaces to go to discuss their burgeoning sexuality or gender identity, then they will find unsafe spaces. And that's never, obviously, never a safe thing and never a good thing to have, to force our children to find those avenues. A book is a total safe space for a kid to see someone like them on the pages, that they can then develop their own questions, that they will come to trusted caregivers in their own life. We're here just trying to offer an instance of representation, an instance of safety for these teens that don't feel like they're included or don't feel seen where they're at. It's not all the crazy words that you have just listed there that we are labeled as are just vile and wrong and completely bad faith interpretations of what we do as queer authors.
Yeah, and like those queer kids are going to exist whether books about them exist or are able to be read or not. Those queer kids are going to be there, and they're going to be, you know, if all the books about them are banned, they're just getting that message that their truth is not one worth existing. And that is a really harmful message to send to kids.
Have any of you had your books banned by anywhere? Yeah, all three.
Oh yeah, oh yeah.
Yeah, it's you know, unfortunately the banning is becoming more and more common, especially when you're talking about queer books. It's almost all of us have experienced it in some way, and it's very heartbreaking. I have to say, a lot of people's response when they hear that my novel, Like a Love Story, has been banned is to congratulate me, but it's not something that feels good. It feels horrible. We're all writing these books to heal wounds that we felt when we were young. Banning is just shaming people again, shaming us for being brave enough to tell the stories, and shaming young people in communities who want to access them. So,
yeah.
You know.
And there's this misinterpretation from allies that think when our books are banned, it increases our sales.
No.
That's not the case. That might happen for superstar mega authors you already know, that have already been out there for decades. And when their books start getting banned, their sales go up or continue in their meteoric sales numbers that have already happened. For us, we're just authors that are trying to get by. And when we have our books taken out of schools or libraries, that's a huge chunk of teen author sales. And so if that gets taken from us, it really hurts our career, which is why they do it, which is why they're trying to ban that. So
yeah, like that's where teens get their books, is schools and libraries. They're not always able to buy their own books. So to take it out of those places is to just take away their access to like all of it.
Well, and it creates an environment of fear too, where people don't want to bring you. I mean, schools, a lot of educators are being faced. I know because I talk to librarians and English teachers. Even in Los Angeles, it's happening where I live. You know, people are afraid to bring queer authors to their schools, which then affects our ability to reach our audience. And it's heartbreaking everywhere. It's doing exactly what we don't need, which is stopping dialogue from happening. We need dialogue. We need to talk through this stuff, human to human, with an understanding that we can love and respect each other, not stifle conversation and end it before it happens.
We've got just about a minute left, and I'm going to throw out a big question that probably no one can answer in a minute, but I'm going to do it anyways. What do you think people are so afraid of?
Oh, wow.
I think,
No, go.
I think they're afraid of kids knowing, like, that, you know, kids are going to know regardless of whether they have the access to these books that they exist. But I think people are afraid of, you know, because they're the next generation. They're the next generation of, you know, lawmakers, presidents, all of that. And I think they're afraid of a big disruption in the status quo if they all, you know, are, you know, I think a lot of people are afraid of, like, you know, everyone turning their kids queer or whatever. But like, I think it's deeper than that. I think it's more about the knowledge and preventing the knowledge from, like, once you prevent someone's imagination, and if they can't imagine themselves, they can't, you know, be that. So, yeah.
Okay. Anybody else?
Oh, I was going to say, I think it comes down to the fear of losing power, and I think that that's a very human thing. Historically, in Only This Beautiful Moment, I write about the 1930s in Los Angeles, and there was a pansy craze where drag was quite popular in LA, and all the movie stars are going to see drag, and that's when they criminalized it. And so there's always this thing that happens when they see power starting to shift to another community and they try to stop it. And I think that that's a very, very human thing. But ultimately, I think what I believe is that power should be additive, just like love should be additive. There's enough for all of us. It's not, we shouldn't frame it as someone taking anything away from you. We're not here to take anything away from your families or other people. It's all additive. It's all to add more love, more storytelling, more joy, more representation. We have to start living with the belief that there can be abundance in the world.
Okay, that's a good point. And I think on that, we're going to have to wind it down. Can each one of you quickly just give out your website? Abdi first.
My website is abdinazemian.com, and I'm mostly on Instagram at abdaddy. I'm at abdaddy on Instagram.
Okay, JJ?
You can find me at heyjasonjune.com and on all the socials at heyjasonjune.
Okay, Sonora?
I'm sonorareyes.com.
Okay,
And
great.
Twitter, same thing. Yeah.
Well, it was nice having you all on the show, and best of luck with the books and with everything you're doing in your life.
Thank you,
Thank you
Douglas.
so
So
much.
much, Douglas.